Hello, everybody. I wanted to come on and talk about what's going on in the sky at the moment, astronomically and astrologically. There's a lot happening. So in the month of September, it has been and still is in October, really intense period of time from Jupiter, Saturn, Chiron, Uranus, Neptune and Pluto are all in retrograde over the month of September. So this is creating a massive intensity where basically you've had to go inside. This is a very internalized or involuting type of force that's happening with all of these planets being retrograde. So I hope you've been not struggling too much with what's happening here, but it is a time of going inward. So for a lot of people, this has brought up a lot of stuff because you have to deal with things that are going on internally. One of the best ways of handling retrograde planets, particularly when you've got this massive it's not an alignment, it's just this number of forces that are all in retrograde together. It can be a time of actually just being with yourself and planning what it is you're going to do moving forward. It's often not a time of action when it comes to retrograde planets. So yes, September has been an extraordinarily intense period, and that's both personal and globally, and you can see what's been going on with the pandemic as that which is showing you what is playing out in the world and how that is affecting you and basically everybody in a certain way. So things are going to change a bit in October. Some of these planets are going to come out of retrograde and go forward. So Jupiter goes forward on the 20th of October, Saturn on the 12th of October, and Pluto on the 6th of October. However, what's just happened in the last week is that we have Mercury coming in on the act, and it is retrograde now as we speak. So Mercury went retrograde on the 27th of September, and it will come out of its retrograde on the 18th. So what has happened here, you will have noticed yesterday Facebook went offline, Instagram and the WhatsApp app. Now, the Mercury retrograde is very close to Mars and the Sun. And on the 9th and 10th of October, there is an exact conjunction going on, and Mercury is in retrograde. And for many people, Mercury retrograde is a difficult period where things go wrong. Now, it is in the constellation of Virgo. Remember, this is a sidereal site here. In the constellation of Virgo, Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So what we're looking at is anything to do with communication. We've got communication issues here. Now, the Mars-Sun conjunction itself is very strong. It's a very willful, powerful force. It is also currently opposite Chiron. And Chiron is a bit of a maverick, and it generally is to do with wounds, things that are not working properly for you. So when these forces go opposite Chiron, you can expect things to happen. Interestingly, when the earthquake happened in Victoria, Australia, which is very unusual because Australia is on its own plate, and it's not that common to have earthquakes as you would normally say in San Francisco because it's on a fault line. Australia doesn't have fault lines as such. So we had an earthquake that measured up to 6 on the Richter scale. Now, on that day, there was a Mars-Sun conjunction, and it was opposite Chiron, and Chiron was conjunct the moon. So that in itself made for a very unusual day, very volatile, and it set off, well, an earthquake. And apparently there were quite a few earthquakes around the globe on that day. So, you know, check that out for yourself. So this is interesting to see how forces do affect what's going on in your everyday to-day world. It's interesting when major events happen, astrologers will always go and have a look at what was happening on that day. And often we're looking ahead and we can see what is coming. So yesterday, when we had this outage of Facebook, there's a lot of, there's a bit of speculation as to why that happened. Some say it's intentional because Facebook were, erasing some of the files that they had that they shouldn't have. Or it could just very well have been that, they had major tech issues. But this is very much in line with having a Sun, Mars, Mercury conjunction. Now, on the 9th and the 10th of October, Mercury is still retrograde, and the conjunction is exact, and it's at 22 degrees Virgo, still opposite Chiron. And interestingly, there is an inconjunction to Uranus. Now, Uranus is very, very fiery at the moment, very, very rebellious and volatile because it's in the constellation of Aries. It is not in Taurus, it is in Aries. And when you have Uranus in Aries, you can expect rebellion, revolution. It is all about self-power, basically, not being told what to do, not wanting to be part of any form of constriction. Uranus also has this level of integrity. If things are not right, it basically starts flaring up, right? So if anything goes against what has integrity, Uranus can often come in and go, right, we need to fix this. So when there's an inconjunction, this is an interesting force. It's not spoken much about because it's a minor aspect. And when it's in a natal chart, the inconjunctions are really quite interesting because it's like the forces that are involved in an inconjunction, they don't flow. It's like there's a bit of a Mexican standoff. They look at each other and it's as if they don't know what to do with each other. So this doesn't help. And it could be that at this period of time, there is a conflict going on between the forces of Uranus, Mars, and the Sun, particularly. And now with Mercury coming in, and it's in retrograde, all to do with levels of communication. You can bet that there's something going to happen in terms of the communication globally and personally. So I would suggest that you perhaps back up the data on your computers. We don't exactly know that anything's going to happen, but this is a strong indicator that something is going to happen in terms of communication, both globally and personally. There is also speculation that this is a period of time where 5G comes on board in a big way. You can go and check down quite a few rabbit holes to find out what is going on. But, for you personally, just be aware of these very strong, violent in some ways, energies that are going to create a bit of fire, a bit of volatility, a bit of change in what's going on normally day to day in your life. Okay, so we've got this force happening like I said, Mercury comes out on the 18th of October. Things are going to flow. So this really is a time of taking care of things that are going on in your own filing cabinets, in your own life. You know, get things in order, in preparation for moving forward later on. Okay, if you start going out now and try to plan things and change things, it's quite common that things will be difficult and likely go wrong whilst there is a Mercury retrograde going on. So guys, yeah, I hope you're not having too much of a hard time. And you know, moving forward, I have to say that there's still going to be planets retrograde for a while yet. We've still got Chiron retrograde until the 24th of December, and we've got Uranus retrograde until the 18th of January in 2022. Neptune is retrograde until the 1st of December. So this period of time is very inward, very internalized, very involuting. So there is a lot going on in your own inner landscape, and I hope you're taking notice of that and you know, sorting out your own stuff, because you need to do that going forward. Okay, guys, take care, and I will speak to you again. Okay, bye for now.